Well, this is awkward. That'll have to do. As promised, we're going to poke around on some of the things here. Now, I brought my laptop here so I can actually go and look and see what I'm looking at. And you'll notice these wires that I've soldered onto chips underneath. I'll bring up the image of that. Now, unfortunately, I lost my list of which one is which. I'm really great at this, so I'm going to try. I don't know my way around a scope at all. Fair warning there, but let's just see what we can see. So first I'm going to start the CD player playing, which is not that button. It's that button. I just have the CD that I burned that had the waveforms on it in there right now in an earlier video. So let's start by looking at this, some of the waveforms on the DAC chip here. Let's see what we can see. If memory serves, this should be the data. Go ahead and freeze that. I'm not sure this is the data. We got a lot of wiggles here. I should have looked up the data sheet. Two of these are the analog outputs. Don't know which one is which. Ooh, what are you? Oh, I looked at these pins on the back. Some of these I believe that one here is one of our audio outputs. Okay, it must not be because it's not changing with the tracks. Which ones are the audio? No, it can't be you. Huh. I don't know. Now you look to be audio. It's interesting how noisy this is. Huh, very weird. Can't say I know what's going on there. Let's see what else we can find. Oh man, that's noisy. Now these here, I'm going to put the Mr. Prepared. Ooh, you've moved. Let's see what we can see from these. Now what we should be seeing now is one of the actual laser diode outputs. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of detail. It's a very noisy signal. Now, I do know that these wires created so much noise, I actually had to disconnect some of them because the CD player wasn't working. So this might just be really, really noisy. And I'm going to see if there's a better test point for them. Really can't see anything. Bummer. Part of the issue with this player is that it has to be, the ribbon cable between the drive and the board is very, very short. And there's pretty much no way to operate this unless it's assembled. I really don't know how people would service these things because it, you know, a lot of the stuff that I want to see is underneath the CD reader. Like the tracking and focus chips are basically directly under here. That's not helpful. But we can see what else we can take a look at. I did find, just from poking at one point, I found the raw data stream. I think it was one of these guys. Unfortunately, what is happening here? Oh. Well, this is kind of interesting. I wonder what's on this line. Let's see if I can figure it out. Notice that we're on a really long time scale. I think this is the subcode. If I can hopefully get the trigger. I'm really have no experience with a scope, so just so you know. Let's try. Oops, that's what I meant. That's what I meant the other way. I wonder why the time base keeps changing. But I'm going to guess, I think what we're looking at here is one of the subcode channels. Kind of makes sense because it's a very infrequent burst. If we look at, you know, there's basically a lot of nothing and then a quick burst here. So I wonder if And then also the first bit of this burst is pretty much empty. Now let's try and change tracks. Yeah, as it's seeking, it's interesting, the subcode bits move away. I bet that's what this is. I bet we're looking at the subcode, and every time we seek tracks, you know, we only see a few, like one of them at a time. Let me zoom out a bit. Refresh rate's gonna be really bad here. Yeah, see as it's searching. Oops, I hit stop. No, play for me, please. Thank you. So as it's playing, you can see they appear rather regularly. And when I hit skip, they break up. Oh, dang it. So see, like you can, it looks like you were getting constant bits of the subcode, and then as it's scanning, you know, the decoder is just sending what it can see to the processor. So the processor, when the disk is playing, sees every subcode byte, but when it's searching, it only sees the few that can be decoded from the decoder. Interesting. Can't say what that is with any. Well, we're looking at the processor again. So let's see, what can we see in the decoder? We got a waveform. Neat. Whoa. What is this? I wonder what this is here. I found something interesting earlier on. The output from pin 3. I hope I don't break anything. Okay, so what are you? I don't know what you are. I thought you were what I thought you were, but you're not. How's that? Where is that then? This is the audio jack, so be to the right. Oh, right, there were, okay. Okay, hang on now, I'm remembering things. One of these here had the output of pin 3, I think. Which one are you? He asked optimistically. What are they, sideways resistors? So one of you? Oh, it's probably you. Okay. Yep, okay. I found it. I think anyway. This, yep, okay, perfect. So now this waveform here, I found something here which helps. If we do a persistence time of infinite, it actually helps us see a little bit better what this waveform looks like. Because it's triggering somewhere I don't really want it to. But at the same time, we can just stop it and zoom. So this here is the waveform that's coming from the amplifier chip from the TDA880AT, that one. So this is the amplified output of the pits and lands. So this is the raw analog signal coming from the disk. And if we look a little closer, you can see if I touch the disk, see how that's, oh, well, I've killed it. Great. Great job. Okay. So if I kind of just touch it, you can see it slows down a bit. You zoom out a bit. Oop, zoom out a bit. See that? Just completely, it gave up there. That click sound you heard, I believe is the laser kicking up all the way. But yeah, so this isn't the raw output from the photodiodes, but this is the amplified output coming from pin 3 going to the decoder. The output from the photodiodes is very, very small. This is You can take a look compared to the voltage level, there's almost nothing there. And it's so noisy, I can't see anything. These all should be the same. And there's nothing there. Which is a shame, because I really wanted to show you that. And I think this is just a case of I can't get to underneath the board while it's playing. There's not enough things to see, which is just kind of stinks. But we did see, let me get back to it, the raw data stream. And this is interesting because it's hard to see, this is actually really helpful from the scope. It's hard to see in this how this can represent data, because it looks like, it just looks like a bunch of sine waves. But if you take a look, you let it keep going. If you expand it so that way you see above the edges, you can kind of see how the length of these here, that's probably corresponding to the length of zeros. So every time that it goes down or up, that's a 1, and the span of time between each peak is a 0, or a number of zeros depending on how long that peak is. So this looks like an absolute jumbled mess of nothing, but the decoder is able to figure out which of these are ones and which of these are zeros. I've looped on to that so I don't have to keep, so I have both hands free. I want to see if you can see the difference here, and I haven't really looked either, between this, which is a burned CD, and this pressed CD. So let's open this up. See, without any data stream, it just completely goes to nothing. Looks pretty much identical. So the amplification that's being done by the, I keep looking at that camera, the amplification that's being done by the TDA8808T chip is really consistent. Even though we were looking at a burned CD compared to a pressed CD, it looks quite similar. Let's now see if we can perhaps see any difference. One thing, if you can hear that, whenever you touch this, you can hear it reacting. The servos are reacting. So I know that this is the output of the photodiodes. It's just there's so little to see. But let's blow this up, see. Yeah, even there's just no, there's not enough in there to see, which stinks. But let's open this up again. You can see that the level changed tremendously as soon as it stopped. We'll go back to the burned CD. Really? Wow, it won't play. Now it will. See, these are, just the fact that these wires are here is screwing a lot of this up. Let's go back to this, and there's no pattern that we can see. This is a bummer. There's a lot less, oops. I was hoping I'd be able to see the actual output from, I was really hoping we'd be able to see the actual output from the chips themselves, from the photodiodes, but the signal's just too noisy. And also I'm very inexperienced with the scope, so keep that in mind. But let's go back to the DAC real quick, see if there's anything we can pick up from here. Because I'd like to see what the DAC is seeing. I'm very surprised by this. I can't. Well, that's something. See, this can't be data because it's just a, it's uniform. This might be. Hang on now, I'm switching discs. Because the audio samples on this disc are all in patterns because it's just waves. This is, you know, music. That looks like data to me. Let's stop that and take a look. Yep, this looks to be like the raw data stream that the DAC is actually getting. In fact, that's pin 3, I think. Is that the input chip on that DAC? I'm going to guess it is, but I'll verify. So this is the raw data coming into the DAC, which it's converting into an analog output. And by the way, I didn't bring this up, but all these little small chips everywhere are op amps, and this board just has a whole bunch of them. What exactly? Op amps can be used for a lot of different things. So some of them might be just amplifying. They might just be intermediary amplifiers. Some of them might be other things. Just looking to see if any, I should blow this up a bit. If any interesting waveforms appear on any of these buses which are not labeled. So far it looks like they're probably just carrying current. What is on this section of the board? We are looking at the top side. Oh, yeah, not a lot. This is probably mostly still the power supply section. Oh, well. Wanted to show you some interesting stuff, and I think that we saw some interesting things, but not as many as I was hoping. I just really wish those tracking chips were on the top and not the bottom. That way we could have seen a more direct view of them. Oh well. But what we can do, let's see. Which of these? I might be too zoomed in. This is interesting, some of the pins here. I wonder if this is like a communication. Let's start pushing some buttons. Yeah, the width of those pulses is changing as I do things. What are you? Nothing of interest, it seems. Going the other way. I also kind of wanted to see, no. What are you? What are some of these? Oh, what's this? I found something! This looks to just be a square, a constant frequency square wave. Let's, touching the disc screws with that a little bit. Let's see, what pin is this? We're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pin 6. Oh, this is one of the outputs to the tracking chip. So that's why when we hit forward and next, this is probably, oh, I hit stop again or something. I'm sure these are sending commands of how to move back and forth. So it's just a steady sine wave when there's no, or steady square wave when there's no command. As soon as it gets instructions, it gets told to move back and forth. Yep, this is seeking. Neat. We found another thing. I'm excited. So this is off the processor chip. So again, this suggests the processor chip is handling the tracking. And in case you wanted to see the beautiful, oh wow, what is our, Well, that's not as beautiful as I hoped, but this is our lovely 60 hertz sine wave of the incoming power that I'm measuring right now. Just for your enjoyment. Anyway, I think that's it for now. Let's move on.